And welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm excited about our next guest. That's plural. Usually we have one, but now we have two because Brandon Baylor and Zach Aldridge go together. These two guys are future stars on network television, and I'm lucky enough to work with them occasionally on the Morning Buzz Show on CBS Sports HQ. That's the digital platform of CBS Sports. It's 24/7. It's the most watched digital platform in sports, and these guys are all over it in the mornings. They have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. They're fun, and they dress great, and that's why I wore a jacket, because I thought they were going to be all decked out. So they throw me a curveball. Brandon, Zach, welcome, my friends. How are you?
Good. Appreciate it. Look, the guru of the greens. This is always a good time when we get a chance to hang with you. For those at home, that's what we call him on the buzz, the guru of the greens, because as always, he knows everything and anything on the PGA Tour, and we just love hanging out with you, Doug. And of course, Zach and I, we talk about it all the time. And to be honest, we're out playing golf. Doug, you're always mentioned. We're trying to up our scores because of you at the top.
Well, it's funny. You and I, we've worked together, exchanging back and forth on the show. And when I see you guys in person, it's going to happen in 2025. We will play golf.
Yes.
All right. And we got to come up with some sort of wager. I mean, what are we gonna bet? Come on.
So Doug, I don't even want to hear Brandon talk, because Brandon and I we just golfed together on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I got bullied.
Oh,
into betting with Brandon.
Yes.
Brandon is much better than me. He is light years ahead of me, and I know that. He knows that. And I somehow got roped into, he wanted to do $5 a hole. I said, absolutely not. I'm not a betting man. I know I'm going to lose my money. He talks it down. We go to $1 a hole. He's like, let's make it $2. We do the first hole. He says, how about, we go up $1 with each hole. And we had 5 holes left. So we got up to $6 on the 18th. I lost the last 2 or 3 holes. I had to give him $15. I wasn't happy about it. So I just want to go golf for the vibe, the fun, Doug. No wagers, if you ask me.
He lost his lunch money. That's all, Doug.
Well, I'm a lot older than you guys, so you'd have to give me a lot of shots as we go play.
I don't hear that. No.
Gosh.
Absolutely not.
All right. Hey, I got to ask you this. And Brandon, you went to Temple University, worked up in Philly, worked for the Eagles, so you got to be on cloud nine. You're an Eagles guy, right?
Whoa.
How much was the Super Bowl? How fun was it for you to watch that unfold?
Now, Doug, you know me very well. I'm the complete opposite of the Eagles. I'm a Cowboys fan. But I do have family members that have been blowing up my phone since the NFC Championship and telling me every second of the game, look, they're going to win this game. And to be honest, being a Cowboys fan, I try to stay away from it. But to see what they did last night, Jalen Hurts, we know his story, from Alabama to Oklahoma to losing Super Bowl 57 to winning it last night, and MVP Saquon Barkley, the year of running backs, where that's the one position that is, not valued. And then for what he did, getting close into that MVP conversation at 2,500 yards, I believe he had this season. To see them get it done second time in 8 years?
Yeah.
It's impressive. But the other side of that is also, too, the Kansas City Chiefs. What happened? And that was my biggest shock. I wanted to see history, to be honest. I wanted to see a three-peat, so I can say in my lifetime I've seen one, at least in the NFL rankings. But, tip my cap to what they did in Philly. Watching and learning from this, because I haven't seen one in quite some time when it comes to my boys. But hats off to the Eagles.
Zach, come on now. A defensive masterpiece. We haven't seen something like that in a while, right? They shut down Mahomes and the company.
It was crazy. I was watching the game with some people who don't really watch football that much, but they know about Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
So they were shocked, saying, wait, I thought the Chiefs' offense was supposed to be like this, crazy thing, and Patrick Mahomes supposed to be dinking and going all the way down the field. I was like, one, this year, that's really not them too much anymore. And this Eagles defense, I think we knew they were good, but to see that in the Super Bowl, against Patrick Mahomes, he had no life to do anything. It's impressive. It's like saying it in the shortest amount of way. It was crazy.
Well, guys, listen, we've had 59 Super Bowls, and the vast majority have not been good games. So, so last night wasn't wow. you know, we celebrate the 38-35 like we had a couple of years ago, but most of the games are bad games. But that was a shocker, Brandon. I mean, that was it fell apart so fast. That's what got me, right?
Yeah, I didn't see 24, nothing on the bingo card at all, especially just as we just talked about what Patrick Mahomes has meant to this league, that franchise, the NFL history, and the Eagles, coming off the NFC Championship. By the way, the game before that with the Rams, it was just one play that the Rams almost, swapped places with them and maybe saw the Commanders NFC Championship game. I didn't see that happening. I was hoping for more of a shootout between the two. We knew the Eagles were coming in, a revenge type of platform, pretty much the same team outside of Saquon, Nick Sirianni, all the pressure on him coming into this. Is he a great head coach? Can he really control all these personalities with A.J. Brown getting upset on the sideline? Jalen Carter week 3 was, poking the bear with coach. And, Saquon, how would he fit? And Jalen Hurts saying, a couple days ago, they finally took the straitjacket off him, meaning they allowed him to be more of himself, being able to run and go through his reads and whatnot. And, Andy Reid, I mean, hats off to him as well. I mean, he's knocking on the door of Don Shula in that record as well. He's the closest one. And then Travis Kelce just disappeared. That Chiefs defense that always shows up with Steve Spagnuolo. We did not see that. And we got a little bit of it in the third quarter, but it was a little too late. And the Eagles putting a 40-piece on you, I did not see that at all.
I mean, Zach, come on now. I got to ask you this. Tom Brady busts out this watch, $800,000 watch. It's the Jacob Company Yellow Sapphire Caviar Tourbillon watch. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
I mean, Zach, does the GOAT own that, or is he getting paid to wear that? Is what I want to know.
I think he owns that. I think he knew, okay, look, everyone's going to be looking at me again today. I've got Patrick Mahomes. I'm calling the game for. I want everyone to know I still do this, whether if I'm playing or if I'm here in the booth. I'm showing them my timepieces. I show them my Apple Watch. Not nearly the level of the money goes into that for that watch. And it looks clean, though. That's the thing. I think a lot of people will spend a lot of money on, like, the crazy timepieces and all the jewelry and things, and I see it and I might be like, not for me. That watch, I will say it was clean. It looked good. I could never even fathom having that much money, let alone spending that much money on a watch. But, hey, Tom Brady is the GOAT for multiple reasons. That's why you have it.
Well, and when I'm on tour, guys, listen, the PGA guys, before they do TV interviews, they put on the Rolex. Hey, give me a second. Got to put in the Rolex, right? But that watch last night, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Almost $1 million for a watch? Come on now.
$800,000. And the funny thing about it is that we really didn't get a chance to see it in all its glory because he's calling the game. It's not like he's on camera. So if you were lucky enough and the cameras caught it, it was like, hey, what is that? So he picked the wrong time, but, I guess it's Tom's time, and that's what we're talking about it now. $800,000 is astronomical for a watch. It's crazy.
Right. And I got to ask you about halftime, guys. I thought Serena Williams looked fantastic, by the way. I had not seen the GOAT, the tennis GOAT, in a long time. And that was kind of cool. It looked like she was having a blast. What do you guys think of it? Because, listen, I mean, look at me. I'm an old guy, right? I just didn't get it. I didn't think I was listening. I thought my audio was off a little on TV, and maybe it didn't translate through the television. But what was the thought process on halftime for you guys?
I'll let Zach, because we're on two sides of this argument. So Zach has a different synopsis and all this. So go ahead, Zach. I'll let you go first.
So first, Doug, I can touch on that audio piece. I also felt like Kendrick's mic level wasn't loud enough. I did feel like it was hard at times to be able to hear and understand what he was saying. I, for one, love the Serena Williams moment, but I think that if my biggest, most hyped moment from a Super Bowl performance was seeing Serena Williams sea-walk and dance on stage, then we're missing something. But I want this to be clear because I know Brandon's going to talk next, but I need this to be abundantly clear. I am a Kendrick fan, okay? I do like Kendrick Lamar. I do like his music. But my number one favorite music artist is Drake. I'm a big Drake fan.
Oh.
And we know the beef and everything going on between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. But I can still recognize good music and still say, while I like some of Kendrick's music, that was a boring performance last night. It was boring.
Brandon?
Well, I mean, it's I'm going to say this because we all know Kendrick is not a actual performer. He's a lyricist, which is fine. Everybody can't be Rihanna 60 feet in the air and dancing on a platform, or, Prince back in the day, or let alone Beyonce. He's not going to do all the bells and whistles. But Zach kind of touched on, there's been that back and forth between Drake and Kendrick, and I think Kendrick kind of got that last punch in there after the performance to say game over. So it's been a narrative for maybe 3 or 4 months, you say, Zach, between these two.
Too long.
As the kids say, Doug, it's been very petty between Kendrick and Drake there, but I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say I'm the biggest Kendrick fan out there, but I understood what was going on. It's so funny. We were talking to Randy, in our newsroom, and he was a little confused too. So there's a little generational gap between that. But I will say a lot of people did like Samuel Jackson. I thought that was cool to see him as well. Like Uncle Sam, which was also nice to see, and Serena as well. That's like a little caveat about, the past between Drake and Serena, and then now, her being from Compton. So it was interesting. It was okay. It was all right. I'll give it
you didn't love it either.
It was maybe like a 6.5, 7. But I went in knowing that Kendrick was not going to perform. He's not going to do a backflip. He's not going to dance. He's just there to give you his music, and that's it. And that's what we got.
Well, I was watching, and I was silent, and I watched the whole thing, and then people were looking at me like, what'd you think? And I was like, I don't know what to think. I said, I like Serena. And they're like, no. What about Kendrick? And I'm like, I don't know. I need time to digest, to process it, like Jalen Hurts. I need time to process this, right? I just didn't get it. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, I think if you hop on social media right now, like my For You on my X page is just filled with think pieces and tweets that have gone super viral, 20K retweets and whatnot. People breaking down the performance. So I think a lot of folks are saying, like, if you get it, then you'll really get it, because the deeper meanings behind everything that he did. And I will say, because he didn't play like some of his most mainstream hits spanning his years in the game. He kept it very recent, which I think a lot of artists we see don't do that during the Super Bowl. They want to give you their biggest top-notch hits. So he, I think, just went different with it from the very beginning. The symmetry, the images meaning something different, and the deeper meaning behind it kind of taps into what he's like as an artist to begin with.
Well, I tell you this, you guys are young guys, but my first Super Bowl, well, actually 1990, Whitney Houston with the national anthem was awesome.
Yes.
Michael Jackson, when he busted out at halftime, I think it was 93, was incredible, because Michael Jackson was the zenith of his career then, right?
Yeah.
And then Prince. Prince is one of the most talented guitar players and musicians in music history, and he was on display for that Super Bowl. I still think that was the best. And he popped through the TV, man. It was like, wow, this was awesome. It was almost better than the game watching Prince at halftime.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's funny how we've seen like the growth in the halftime performance. It's more of a spectacle, and honestly, it's basically a concert for anyone watching, even if you're not a fan of the game, because there was a lot of people that were Rihanna fans who are watching just because of that, or Prince, like you said, or Beyonce, whoever it may be, throughout the years. It's something that we all can sit down and just appreciate that. Hey, this is free music. We're getting it up close on the biggest stage in the world at this time. So I love them. I love it. Like, you're never going to get a great performance by every single person every single year. But there's always a small pocket of like individuals that, I've been a fan of this person forever. I'm definitely going to watch. Or there's a fan of, or those that are not fans, like, let me just see what this person does. So it's give or take with that. So
I want to mention this too, because Zach went to Florida, University of Florida, and that's where I graduated from. Oh, by the way. And he worked at WCJB Channel 20 in Gainesville, and so did I. So
really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah, a long time ago, Zach. But yeah, I was the weekend sports guy there many, many years ago. So I'm surprised there's not a plaque on the wall or something.
I've been wanting to go back to TV 20 for quite some time. I'm in a group chat with two other guys, one who was a sports director when I was there, and one who was a weekend meteorologist. And we talk all the time about, man, it'd be so cool just to go back one day and just kind of walk around and be like, yeah, I used to I used to work here. I used to do the thing here on TV 20, but I did not know that, Doug. That is nice. They need to bring us back. They need to put like a Hall of Fame and induct us in or something just for like carrying that TV 20 mantle.
Yeah, and my wife is a University of Alabama person, and this past year I took her to Gainesville for the first time, and we saw the statues, the Tebow, the Spurrier, the Werfel statues, and she was like, Alabama this, Alabama that. And I said, let's go on the field. And she was like, we can't go on the field. I'm like, oh, yes, you can in Gainesville. Gates are open. We go right down on the field. It's great to be a Florida Gator, Zach. What can I kept telling her that.
You just walk around the swamp. You see, okay, that first gate, I can get into the stadium.
Yes.
And now I'm in the stadium. I'm going down. Like, oh, I might hop in. It's security sees me, then you'll leave real quick. But hey, no, it's a come one, come all. 90,000 fans. It's a spectacle. It's home. It is home.
Yeah, so Brandon, forgive us for reminiscing there a little bit about
it's fine. It's fine.
Gator times.
He does this all the time on the show. So there's literally a Gator reference in every single hight every day. Surprise.
That's true.
Hey, tell me this, guys. Now that football's over, I mean, the NFL never ends, but we'll at least take a breath now. What do you turn to? College basketball, NBA? Is that the focus now?
Well, yeah. Well, we're at the point now where we're getting to the midway point in the NBA. So we have the All-Star break coming up soon. But, it's been kind of a shift in the NBA where you had all these trades. So we'll get Luka's debut tonight.
Right.
His first time in the purple and gold. So we can't wait to see that. College basketball, things are ramping up. We'll have the top 16 that the committee puts together in terms of those rankings coming out. And I mean, you guys just talked about Florida. The SEC can have maybe 10 to 12 teams coming out in the March Madness at some point once the tournament comes around, as competitive that conference has been. Outside of that, you got everything from baseball. Spring training is about to start up and running. And then also in hockey, there's this guy called Alexander Ovechkin that's getting very, very close. The Washington Capitol, by the way, which is my home, Washington, D.C., and Ovi has a chance to get close to the great one's record. I think he's at, 15 or 16. So I will be watching that and preparing for that, in this all season. But, of course, we have the draft. Before that, you have the combine coming up. And as you said, Doug, football season doesn't stop. And then, look, I'm sure the transfer portal will open at some point. It's like hopscotch, in and out, and out when it comes to these players and coaches. So it's nonstop. You know this already, Doug.
Zach, what are you looking forward to most, though? I mean, as Brandon kind of rolled everything out there, what are you most looking forward to?
So one thing that Brandon didn't fully mention, but I'm actually really looking forward to on the women's side for college basketball, seeing how that will pan out with the tournament this year. I think that in this year after Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, where maybe there's not as many eyeballs, I'd say that the game this year is even more competitive than it was last year. And we actually are going to be, the Final Four will be in Tampa this year. On the women's side, we'll be doing the morning buzz from over there in Tampa. Right. So really excited to see which teams come through, because there's still a lot of stars, a lot of good basketball. So basketball was my first sport that I was decent at. So I'm rocking with things on the hardwood for sure.
Guys,
his nickname, Doug, I don't know if he told you, the Landlord. He was a 6'2" center in high school called the Landlord. Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Because I own the paint, Doug. Because I own the paint.
Wow. I like that. Must have been physical as all can figure, right?
Hey, 6'2", that's aggressive. That's Charles Barkley status at that point,
Hey, let me tell you this, though. I've seen Caitlin Clark, by the way, twice in Pro-Ams.
Okay.
And both times, number one, she's a really good golfer, by the way.
Yes.
Number two, the gallery was there to see her and not the golfer that she was playing with.
Yeah.
And she signed every autograph, took every picture with every young lady, young girls. I mean, they just flocked to her, right?
Yeah.
And I think she's phenomenal. I mean, we scratched the surface of her popularity last year, and I know that she went through a lot of crazy stuff on social media. But I'm telling you, and with the Olympics on the horizon, she'll be on the next Olympic team. I mean, she's legit, guys. I mean, she is absolutely legit. I'm impressed by seeing her. I've seen her twice in person. And listen, I love people who can golf, right? And do it. But she's real with people. I really like her. Have you guys met her yet?
Haven't met her yet. But obviously we saw the run when she was in college.
Yes.
The most points ever. And of course the tourney run the past couple of years. And, I think we could all say, like, for a long time, the WNBA has always had stars.
Right.
You know, they've always had, superstars that were going to be Hall of Famers at some point. But in this day and age right now, I think she's become the needle for the W in terms of wherever she goes, eyes will follow. The whole thing, and Zach talked about with the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark rivalry that we saw kind of carry over into the W. Everything to the point where she's become that number one star, where every arena that she went was sold out to the point where they had to play in some of those NBA arenas,
right,
just to accommodate fans. That was 20 or 30,000 plus, which numbers a lot of teams haven't seen since the 90s for some of those, organizations. So she has really become, I guess you can say, I don't want to say the same thing as LeBron, but in terms of stature, where she's, that number one icon figure, she has become that, and she's carried it the right way. She doesn't have an ego about her, or she's not arrogant, just even kill. She loves the game, obviously. A lot of people were kind of upset that, she didn't make it to the Olympics, but to be honest, she kind of needed the break. She literally went from the tournament and then right to the draft and then playing again, so she didn't have any downtime. And, she'll, like you said, she'll be there 2028. That's not going to be a problem. So I like it. I enjoy it. It gives us a narrative to keep following and, to track those stars. That's what we need, somebody as they begin and transcend to that major superstar we've been looking for a very long time.
All right, guys, we're just a few weeks away from the Masters, by the way. Tiger playing this week in his own tournament. Played Super Bowl morning with President Trump and Charlie at Mar-a-Lago, which is really cool in its own right, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that? The president plays. I mean,
this is over here.
I mean, President Trump playing with Tiger and Charlie in the morning, then he opts off, flies off to the Super Bowl. I mean, and now Tiger. But what do you guys think? I mean, listen, Tiger isn't going to win again on the PGA Tour, but he's still Tiger, right? I mean, we were talking about Serena at halftime. There's certain people that still move the needle. I mean, Zach, come on. Tiger still moves the needle big time.
Yeah, without a doubt. I remember my uncle was the one who really got me onto golf when I was growing up because he plays some. And just I still will never forget growing up, being at my grandma's house. Like, I would wear red. I tell my grandma not to talk while Tiger was putting because I was like, oh, no, Grandma, you're going to jinx him. I know we're here in Savannah, Georgia. We're nowhere near where he is right now. But, like, it's just something about him that, and honestly, for the longest time, I still, like, my deepest sports take was that he was still somehow going to catch up and pass Jack for the most majors. I guess I've got to put that to bed now. I don't think it'll ever happen. But man, I would love to see him. Just I don't even know. Get another one. Maybe be in contention throughout the weekend. It's still fun. Like this many years into the game, it's still just it gets the people going.
Yeah. No, I agree. He's been that needle, as we just said with Caitlin Clark, and Doug, you touched on it too. It's a different viewership when he's playing, and he can be dead last, and we've basically seen the last couple of years where we may not see Tiger for a couple months, but when he's coming back, there's obviously, realistically, you don't believe he can win, but there's a chance because it's Tiger and what he's done. The fact that he's even playing golf after, so much he's been through surgeries and the accident, and the fact that he can have a full swing and even the TGL now, but I can't wait to see him at Genesis. Of course, it's just like, watching like that aura just being on the course and the oohs and ahs, and he makes, a nice dart on a par 3 and it's 5 feet from the cup. It's like, that's the Tiger we remember. It's just those moments that you just appreciate what he did in the past, maybe not what he's going to do in the future, but just being out there in the elements and playing with the young guys who obviously looked up to him, like the JTs of the world. I remember Sahith was saying the same thing. It was awesome. I think his birthday a couple tournaments ago last year, he was like, Tiger came over and said happy birthday. Like, how did you know my birthday? I think you remember that, Doug. It was just a cool moment. Like, type of environments. Even Siwoo Kim has said something similar to that. So it's great just that he's there in the elements, and obviously long shot, Scotty has just been domination like old Tiger, but it's good to see him in the field.
Well, and you guys know, he wasn't just playing golf with the president. Negotiations are going on, and this PGA Live thing is now going to come to, they're going to have a marriage, and in 2026, everybody's going to be playing everywhere. We know that. Yeah. So Tiger's just not out for a morning round with the president.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
there's a lot going on there, you know.
There's business to get done. Yeah.
There's a little business to get done. So,
A lot going on.
Yeah.
hey guys, I really appreciate it because listen, I want to meet you in person. I feel like I know you already, and you guys do have great energy, great enthusiasm. I love watching you. I wish I could dress like you, but I can't. You guys wear that wardrobe a lot better than I do. But keep up the great work, will you? Because you guys are definitely going places. I don't think there's any question about that. And I think you're in a good spot. I think CBS is growing in a lot of areas, and I look forward to watching you guys advance in your careers. You guys are headed in a positive direction.
Doug, appreciate that. As always, look, we love having you on. And, when it comes to the dress code thing, the problem is you just have the guns. I just know they don't have jackets. You always like the gun show. Usually we're accustomed to the polos, and that happens. We'll figure it out when we get that situated. But no, honestly, we love covering golf with you. Monday through Friday. Whenever you come in town, hopefully it's the Masters. Maybe down here, come on in town and hang out with us. It's always good. It's the reason why we call you the Guru of the Greens. It's very few people in HQ have nicknames. I believe you.
Yeah.
If my mind is right, I think I was the first one to give you a nickname.
Yeah.
In terms of that, so and it's stuck for a reason. So it's always a blast, talking shop with you. Even college football sometimes too. I know we get into banters before the segments and after segments, and it's always a blast. And we love the energy that you bring. And you can ask anybody. It's always like, we got to have Doug on. That's our guy. That's our guy.
And guys, remember, Jalen Hurts. Listen, I know Oklahoma's claiming him.
Oh, yeah.
He's an Alabama guy, University of Alabama. Remember that.
Did you know this? And I found this out last night because we were talking about it on the show. Devonta Smith was the only Alabama drafted player to score a touchdown.
I heard that last night.
And it's so crazy.
I got my phone. I'm like, is that real? I was checking.
Right. I'm like, what happened, Nick? Did they just not score in the Super Bowl? I'm like, well, then you think about Julio Jones, okay, and then the technicality with Jalen Hurts, since he didn't get drafted from Alabama, because I was like, wait, he just had 2 rushing touchdowns 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the first one, and it was a homecoming for him. So how about that for the Slim Reaper?
And his beautiful fiance is a University of Alabama graduate too. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
In the background, just roll Tide, guys. Just roll
Yes.
Doug, then they confuse me. Do we want to rock with the Gators or do we want to rock with Alabama? How do we differentiate and get both love in there? I'm just curious.
Zach, it's when they meet in the SEC championship game, which hasn't happened in a couple of years, but for a while there, it was virtually every year.
Right.
It was very difficult for me. I had to walk a tightrope there.
Yeah.
Depending on who I was sitting with.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Had no jersey on, just in case.
But my heart, Zach, my heart.
Right. The heart.
It's
the heart.
It's orange and blue in here, my friend.
Yes. That's what I like to hear. That's exactly what I like to hear.
Oh, man. That is awesome.
You guys want to say roll Tide before we leave? Okay. Just
Look, I have no allegiance to it. I have no problem saying roll Tide. That's fine. This one over here, I don't think he can do it. I don't think he can do it.
You won't catch me say that. Doug, I'll just say I really need and look forward to meeting you in person in 2025.
Absolutely.
It really is wild to think, that we haven't met in person, because you build the relationships that we do on air and everything. And I feel like you said, man, I know him. I've spent time with him, and I know exactly what it'll be like. I just need it to happen now this year in real life.
Oh, yeah, we'll make it happen. Oh, by the way, you guys did play TPC Scottsdale, right?
We did.
Yes.
We did.
And was the build out, was it built out, or had they taken everything down when you played?
So we played, was it the stadium court? No, we played the Champions course.
We played
the other side.
Yes.
But they did have it built up, like we saw it from the road, so you can kind of see the stadiums a little bit, the stadium on 16. So, and even from that point, it looked massive. It looked amazing. That is on my bucket list to get to a Waste Management. Obviously, the timing with the Super Bowl kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
But it would be great to get there. Just, I don't know, it feels like it's the people's opening, because just the spectacle of the fanfare, because we don't get that on the tour. It's not as aggressive and fun. And I remember a couple of years ago, it was Harry Higgs and the whole
took his shirt off
down. It's still that's just a memory. You won't see it throughout the season, but that was the one that was oh, that's just awesome. So, but it's a beautiful course from what we saw, and that was
grounds were amazing.
It looked really good in August. So I can only imagine it looks amazing this time of year, where it's the climate is perfect to play.
Yeah. It takes 8 months, guys, to build that and to tear it down. 8 months. So the course is only free of that for 4 months.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, think about that.
That's,
Well, next time you need to
did
pull
not
some
know
strings so we can go to the
I know.
course,
I know.
the champions.
Well,
Just-
you know, it's funny when I called out there, and I went through the whole rigmarole. I mean, I'm explaining. The guy goes, "Oh, would you work with Zach and Brandon?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, they already called." I'm like, well, I shouldn't have. I mean, okay, all right, good, thanks. So
we needed the reinforcement. That's
Okay.
what the gun show. We needed you to apply the gun show muscle.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah.
That's all.
We're,
I
we're just
was-
the regular jokers.
I mean,
We
I was
need
doing
the
some
big
serious politicking, right?
That's
I didn't know you guys already touched base with the guys.
No, it was a blind email that got sent that had no idea who it was going to. It was like you go to TPC's website, it's like contact us, and then it's like help at TPC Scottsdale. So just blasting it out. I have no idea who's going to see this. And then
they saw
I need
it.
direct connect.
The right guys saw it, that's for sure. So,
right.
good stuff. All right, guys, be good. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Doug.
See you soon, man. Take care.
Yes, sir.